What's up, guys? Scott here, and it's time to rebuild. We would all agree that this last year, 2020, has been probably one of the most devastating years for therapists and coaches and just people in general. You may be looking at the status of your therapy and coaching business right now and had dreams at the start of the year of where it could be, but looking at it now, it's definitely not where you want it to be. Because of the coronavirus, because of the immediate lockdowns, you probably saw just overnight even, you went from having paid clients, constant money coming into your business to your business basically just falling apart. And because of old school marketing tactics like handing out business cards, handing out flyers, going to meetup events, going to gatherings and hoping to find the right client, when all of these marketing tactics were taken away from you or taken away from the industry took a massive hit. So I think it was really, really important in this video. Let's talk about something a little bit more positive. So what I want to talk about in this video, I'm going to run you through it step by step and show you how to rebuild your business after the lockdown, after coronavirus, and build the right infrastructure. So unfortunately, if the coronavirus comes back or we have lockdowns or have another world devastating event, your business won't take a hit. I think it's really, really important for therapists and coaches to start thinking long-term in their business. Start thinking about, well, what if this happens? If this happens, will my business take a hit? Will I go from having clients and having money in my business to absolute nothing? You want to start to prepare for these things. So hopefully by the end of the video, I'm not going to drag out this introduction any longer than it needs to be, but hopefully by the end of the video, you see my point of building your business online, building the correct infrastructure, which I'm going to show you how to do step by step, and ultimately looking into the future of your business and sort of weatherproofing that business. So if something does happen that's catastrophic, your business will no longer take a hit. Now we're at a good time right now, where especially moving into 2021, where you could take what you've been doing, which is the old school marketing way, which is seeing the clients, with flyers and business cards and events and things like this, which is more of an offline asset, and turning your whole business and putting it online. And it's not a hard thing to do. So I'm going to take you guys through step by step, show you the infrastructure, show you the system, show you everything you need to do to rebuild your business after the devastating lockdown of the coronavirus and start to move it into 2021, where you can be highly profitable and the infrastructure of your business can weather even the biggest storm. So guys, before we get into the content, make sure you like and comment on this video. If you have any other therapists and coaching colleagues that have definitely taken a hit during the coronavirus, make sure you send them this video. But like I said, make sure you like this video because it does help with the algorithm and it does help me let me know really what you guys want to see as far as valuable content. So guys, without further ado, let's dive straight into the infrastructure of your coaching business and rebuilding after the coronavirus and after lockdown. So here's a real example of what has happened in the industry thanks to these old school marketing tactics. So we know once we're qualified, our goal is to really start to get paid clients into our business immediately. And we're really taught those old school marketing tactics, which is to leave your house, go hand out flyers, go hand out business cards, to go to events, go to local meetups, go to the local business lunch or the business breakfast with hopes to meet the right type of client that you could start a conversation with, maybe use your elevator pitch and get them as a paid client. But almost immediately and overnight, we know that these things were taken away from us. And all the therapists and coaches that were relying on these offline tactics to get clients, we know that they really struggled. So I think it's a really, really important point to see the value of taking what you've been doing offline and taking it online. And I'll give you a quick example of what I mean. Let's say, for example, you have been handing out business cards or you have been handing out flyers. And realistically, you can only do this in your local area, where you live in your suburb. Now, we've got to think that, okay, if I'm growing my business, what we could call locally, which is, to go around to the houses in my suburb, to put the flyers in the letterbox, to hand out my business cards or put my business cards up at the local shopping center with hopes that someone's going to read this flyer or see this business card and give us a call to want to work with us to maybe quit smoking or overcome anxiety or lose some weight or something like this. But the issue really starts when we start looking at our business locally, because whenever we're trying to grow our business locally, which is more like a brick and mortar, we're hoping clients will come and see us. We are restricted by the number of people in our local area. I mean, it's a bit of a ridiculous thought to think, okay, if I'm going to grow my business locally, I'm surrounded by, let's say, 1,000 people in my local area. Well, you've got to start thinking, what happens once I've exhausted all those people? What if out of those 1,000 people, maybe one person wants my services? What do you do next? Well, you can't keep walking further. You can't keep driving further from suburb and keep growing to next suburb and growing suburb. So, because over time, you'll be spending all your time traveling in your car, walking around your local area or further than your local area to hand out more business cards and more flyers. And this becomes a sort of a moot conversation, it becomes a point where it's almost an activity in atrophy. The further you start to go out, the more time and effort you've got to put into these old school marketing tactics, which really yield nothing as far as an output, which is, okay, if I hand out X amount of flyers, I'm going to get X amount of clients. So what's left? What's the difference? Where should we be taking our business, and why should we be doing it online? Well, let's say, for example, I hand out, let's say, 1,000 flyers in a fortnight, or even like a week, 1,000 flyers. So that's a lot of walking around. That's a lot of energy. Maybe that's a lot of driving around, hoping that someone's going to read my flyers and not do like what I do when I get a flyer in the letterbox. I pretty much just throw it away. What's the difference? Well, if I go online and do something like a Facebook Live, maybe something like this, I go live on Facebook for 20 minutes. I talk to my potential market about their anxiety, weight loss, whatever your niche needs to be. And let's say from a 20-minute video, it takes me 20 minutes to do. That's not a lot of effort. You're sitting in a seat and talking into a microphone. I have 200 people watch that Facebook Live. But that's the first day. Then I notice a couple of hours later, where I'm no longer doing that Facebook Live, I haven't had to leave my house, another couple of hundred people watch it. And then later on that day, another couple of hundred people watch it. And over the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, so on and so forth, over the next 7 days, let's say 2,000 to 3,000 people watch that Facebook Live. Now, remember, I've had to leave my house and hand out all those flyers, and I have to continually do this every day. But from one Facebook Live, one 20-minute bit of effort, I now have the potential of thousands of people to watch that video. And if I give the right call to action, just like I would do on my flyer, which is call this number or book a call with me, and I give that right call to action at the end of the Facebook Live, now I have the potential of thousands of people watching that Facebook Live. But it doesn't just stop there. What if I was to download that Facebook Live, upload it to my YouTube channel, upload it to my LinkedIn page, upload it to Instagram, upload it across all my social media platforms? If I have an email list, I can now send out a video to my email list. So from one 20-minute Facebook Live, I can repurpose that content over and over again. And this is one of the most valuable things to realize about having an online business, is it doesn't take a lot of effort to create like a video or a post or something of real value that's going to get the attention of your market, that's going to turn into some paying clients. But however, if I've got to go to a local business, I've got to go knocking on their door, asking them if they'd be willing, to have a part of my service. They want my stop smoking sessions or weight loss. I can talk to everybody that's in the store about hypnotherapy or something like that. That's effort, and that's time consuming. If I'm going around handing out business cards and flyers and going to those local business lunches, that's effort and that's time that maybe I don't have. And realizing this as well, when I'm going to do those things, I'm hoping that the right people are going to be in these locations, from the business lunch or my local business or something like that. I'm hoping I'm going to get the attention of the right people. Whereas if I go online like a Facebook Live or a YouTube video, I know my potential clients are going to be there because everybody's on Facebook, everybody's on YouTube. All I have to do is create the right content, whether it's 10 minutes long, 15 minutes long, 20 minutes long, something like this, that's going to talk about very valuable pieces of advice with the right call to action. So when it comes to building your business online, and we're going to transition, I'm going to share my screen with a couple of diagrams I created for you guys and show you across the entire system that you should be building for your business. It's not going to take a lot of effort on your time to get these right clients. So my biggest piece of advice going into the rest of this video, guys, is start to think globally. Stop thinking locally. Start thinking about the inputs as far as the effort you've got to put in to get clients. It is more time consuming. Okay, and you'll yield less results by having to leave your house, hand out business cards, hand out flyers, because we're hoping that the right people are going to show. We also have to realize that it's going to take time away from other things that I could be doing. It's not a very efficient use of our time. So knowing that we could do the same thing online, reach more people with less effort and have it more efficient for the outputs of your business, you'll see one of the big reasons why we do want to move your business online. When it comes down to it, guys, your clients are online. Your clients are on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and maybe even Instagram. All we have to do is get the attention of these people, which is going to be what the rest of this video is going to show you how to do. So guys, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of the infrastructure you should build. Then we'll talk about social media, and we're going to put all of these things together to give you a really big overview of how your business should look online. And like I said, hopefully by the end of this video, you start to implement this, especially moving into 2021. because this infrastructure is weatherproof. If coronavirus comes back, if the lockdown comes back, and you're still relying on old school marketing of flyers and business lunches, and that gets taken away from you again, it's just reiterating the fact of what we've been talking about all along, and the thousands of students have showed this too, that building the business online creates solid infrastructure. It means that you can still be making money if the coronavirus comes back, if the lockdown comes back, because lockdown, if it keeps you in your house, you still have the ability to speak to millions, if not billions of people online, thanks to social media and the infrastructure I'm going to show you. So I've been talking long enough. Let's dive into the video. Let's do it. So welcome to the online system. So let me take you through a diagram which really represents what your online system could be. So remember, the goal with this online system is to get away from leaving the house, handing out business cards and flyers, and transition all the work that you're doing outside onto an online business. We're going to go through this step by step, but this really becomes like the ultimate online business model, and it really sections down into 4 simple parts. First thing we need to look at is the inputs. These are the things that you're going to do on social media to drive traffic into a booking system, meaning that what can I do each day to get the attention of my market, to show value in what I do, to turn them into clients. I'm going to show you how to do that. So that's our social media and our traffic, and this is where you're going to spend most of the time. So instead of handing out flyers, business cards, and going to local lunches and things like this, you will do all of this on social media, on things like Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, things like that, which I'm going to give you guys a look through in a moment. From there, what we do each day, which is our social media, this part of the system now dives into the process stage. So we have to make sure that we have some sort of booking system set up. I want to drive traffic from social media into a strategy call booking system. I'm going to show you how to set that up as well. But I also want to make sure that I'm prepared to take money straight up. This is really, really important because we're no longer maybe seeing our clients face-to-face or doing any face-to-face marketing, the business cards and flyers. I have to know that at the end of the strategy call, I can take a payment from a client, because if a client's not physically coming to see me anymore, I need to take a payment. So guys, I'm going to show you Stripe and also PayPal, get you set up to start taking payments at the end of a strategy call or interaction with that client. Lastly, the last stage is the output stage, or sorry, the second to last stage is the output stage. And this is what I call, are you making money? This is the most important part of the system, and it comes down to the niche. So I'm going to explain how that works. But all in all, at the end of the day, guys, we have to make sure that your business, the online business that you're creating right now, is bringing money, cash, and revenue into your business. And this all comes from picking the right niche, which we're going to go into detail. Last thing, and one of my favorite things, is called asymmetry or tracking. So I'm going to show you, how do you know which social media inputs you can do each day are going to yield the biggest results? Meaning that, is YouTube better for my business? Is Facebook better for my business? Is Instagram better for my business? And how can I know, if I put the right amount of effort into one or all of these social media platforms, which one would yield me the most amount of money? And that's what we're going to look at as well. So as you can see, it's a very simple system. I think a lot of people overcomplicate how easy or how hard it could be to build an online business. Regardless whether you're a therapist or a coach in NLP, this system works. This is the same system I use for my coaching company as well. It's just inputs, process, outputs, and tracking of the effort that you're putting into your business to turn social media into clients. We're going to go through all of these stages one by one, and let's set up your entire business online one step at a time. Let's dive into it. So the next important thing we want to set up, guys, is get you ready to start taking payments. So maybe in the past, or the old school way of doing it, was maybe when your clients came in, they would physically give you cash. You might even have like a portable FPOS machine. So now that we're moving your business online, it's important to get you set up for your payment gateways online. And there's 2 ways you can actually do this. We can use PayPal, or we can also use Stripe. Now, there's going to be some countries where you cannot use PayPal, you cannot use Stripe. If you're one of those countries, you just have to do a bit of a quick Google research and find out other options for this. But I think it's really, really important that we set this up first, because as you start to move into creating social media, as you move into moving your business online, you don't want to have any hesitation to maybe a client that does contact you, wants to work with you. You obviously want to be able to take that payment in full, maybe at the end of a strategy call, or take the payment from there immediately. So there's two ways we can do this. We can use PayPal and Stripe, like I said. So the great thing about PayPal, and guys, this is just the way that PayPal looks right now. So I'm going to show you one quick way to do it. If you haven't set up a PayPal account before, go ahead and set one up. It is free to set up. I highly recommend that you set up a business account because it's better for taxes and tracking and things like this. But once that's done, it should take you 5 minutes to do. If you already have a PayPal account, you may be familiar with this already. So what I like to do, let's say at the end of a strategy call, I'm working with my clients online and they want to buy, let's say, for example, my stop smoking therapy. When I was a stop smoking therapist, this is all I'd have them do is I'd be at the end of the strategy call and all I would do is come onto PayPal. Now, again, this is the way it looks now, is I'd come over to pay and get paid just on the top left here, press this, and I would come to request money. Simple as that. And what this would do is it's almost like an invoice that I'm going to send to my client. I'm going to send it to them with their email address and the cost of my services. They're going to get an email. They can use PayPal. They can also use a credit card to pay for that service straight away. The great thing I like about PayPal is it's immediate. Now, yes, PayPal and Stripe do have fees. So let's say, for example, I'm selling a $1,000 product, depending on if I'm selling it locally in Australia where I live or I'm sending it to a client overseas. Bit of a difference in the fees that they take out per payment, but roughly $1,000 will have maybe like $30 worth of fees locally in Australia, and it's about $37 to $38 if I work with a client overseas or someone outside of Australia. But the cool thing about it, remember guys, those fees are tax deductible, so they are a business expense. So when it comes to the end of your year, if you have a good accountant, they should add that and obviously take that off your tax bill because it is a business expense. Anything you're spending on your business, you should get back at tax time. However, like I said, PayPal's immediately, and what can happen is it'll go straight into your PayPal account. You'll get the notification that you've been paid. They'll also get a receipt, so it's all done for you. It's nice and quick, and it's nice and clean. It's really, really easy to track. So definitely get PayPal set up, guys, to start taking payments straight away. The second payment option is via Stripe. Now, Stripe fees are very, very similar. Now, what you can do is once you've set up a free account with Stripe, again, any fees that come out obviously will be tax deductible as well, is once you're in the payment gateway itself, let's say at the end of a strategy call, you can actually take someone's credit card details over the phone, which is tremendously helpful. All you have to do is come over to Stripe, come up here to the right-hand side where it says create payment. Click on this one, and as you can see, guys, down here, I can manually enter card information, which is incredible. So I don't have to have my clients come in and see me because remember, we're in lockdown, coronavirus, we can't do this. I can physically take someone's credit card details over the phone. Okay, it'll set up a receipt as well automatically that will go for them, put the amount, put my customer's name, put the description of maybe my service, and then I'll just ask my client, hey, what's your credit card details? Give me the numbers on the front, give me the month and the CVC number, and I can press, get all that done, press submit payment, and within a couple of seconds, I'll receive a notification that yes, I've been paid, and also they'll get a receipt as well. Now, when you first start with Stripe, because there's a few security things that has to go through, the very first payment you take, you may not receive it in your account for anywhere between 7 to 14 days. But that's just the first payment. After that, if you're constantly using Stripe, I know that if we use Stripe, and we have used it a lot in the past, we use more PayPal now because it's more automatic. But with Stripe, we know that if I take a Stripe payment, within 24 hours, it's straight into my account. And the fees are pretty much the same, but they're tax deductible as well. So guys, one big part is, or the second part of setting up the system based on the inputs, process, and output I just taught you before. Get your payments set up online. Get set up for PayPal, get set up for Stripe. I recommend these two. Now, some people that I do know, therapists and coaches, do use like a Square box as well. And I'm sure there's many other things that you can do to take payments online. But the goal here is to do that, to take a payment online. So because we can't physically see our clients anymore, set up with PayPal, set up with Stripe. Even if you don't use them, you know they're there as a backup. So for example, if my client that I'm working with says, well, Scott, I don't want to use PayPal, can I pay another way? I've got Stripe set up. So when I'm doing a strategy call, I'll have both of these accounts set up, ready to go. And I will always go for PayPal first, and then I'll go for Stripe or vice versa. But I'll always let my client know that, hey, if you can't pay through PayPal, we can send you a Stripe invoice as well, or I can take your payments over the phone. And I've never really had any clients complain about taking payments over the phone. There is a little bit of security, like I said, issues sometimes with Stripe. That's why we have the second option of PayPal. So guys, now we've set you guys up for taking payments. Let's move on to the next part of the system. So now we've got you set up, ready to take payments. Let's now move our attention into the actual input box. Remember, we talked about this at the start. Input is your social media. So In regards to working offline, your inputs would have been go to business lunches, go to business breakfasts, hand out business cards, hand out flyers, maybe knock on your local businesses in hopes to find those clients. So what we're doing is transitioning that online, which we know is way more efficient and can impact more people that you really have to leave your home, which is efficient for the business. So what I recommend right at the start is making sure that you've got a Facebook page, YouTube channel, and LinkedIn, also Instagram if you want to use that as well. Why is this the case? Well, I always want to think of repurposing content. I want to, as far as the efficiency of my business, I want to create one piece of content that I can repurpose across multiple social media platforms. I don't want to be creating different pieces of social media for different pieces of social media platforms for different this and different that, because then it becomes a real time suck and the efficiency goes out the window. So what I recommend, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn and Instagram. Why? Because I know my potential clients are there. Regardless of the niche, regardless of whether I'm in the stop smoking niche, the anxiety niche, the weight loss niche, I know my potential clients are using these platforms. Then it becomes a no-brainer as to how I'm going to get their attention. All I have to do is get their attention by creating very valuable content and doing something called answering your clients' most common questions. Now, I'm not going to get into this in massive amounts of details because I've created videos on this before. I'm going to leave several videos below in the description talking more in depth about social media, talking way more in depth about answering your clients' most common questions, why you need to do that, and the system, basically inside the system. I'll leave those videos below. Go check those out as this part will make more sense, but I'll give you a quick overview here as well. So with Facebook, as you can see here, if someone was to come to my personal Facebook page, and yes, we use a personal Facebook page, there'll be a video below why you have to use a personal Facebook page, not a business page and not a brand page. And I'm instantly telling people on my personal page what I do. So you can see my niche here. I've got my banner all set up. They can book a free strategy call if they click on this button right here. And as you can see with my Facebook page, all I'm doing is creating very valuable content. The content I'm creating is answering my clients' most common questions, just like the video you guys are watching now. The video I'm creating right now is answering the question of how do I rebuild my business after lockdown? How do I rebuild my business or even build my business moving into 2021? How do I transition an offline business into an online business? I'm answering this question in this video. So you want to do the same thing here. So as you can see on my Facebook page, I use the announcements feature. I'm showing my testimonials on the left-hand side here. I'm uploading videos. I'm really not talking about me. I'm not using social media for likes, shares, and comments and fishing for attention. What I'm doing is I'm providing a lot of value. I'm showing my market tremendous value, which really gives them the answer of, yes, I'm the expert. It shows them how deep my knowledge goes, which is going to turn people that watch my content into paid clients. But again, I'll leave videos below talking more about that. But I'm using the feature of Facebook for value. I'm not selling. I'm not talking about myself. I'm not talking about hypno or coaching or therapy. What I am talking about is answering my clients' most common questions. And the great thing about a video like this, I can upload this video. Once I've done this video, upload it to Facebook. I can also upload it to YouTube. I can upload it to LinkedIn. I can upload it to Instagram. I can send it to my email list. As I said before, from one input, I can repurpose it half a dozen times, if not 10 times, if I'm really smart with it. I could turn a video into a post. I could turn a video into a blog. Everything really starts with the video content. But as you can see, I'm repurposing across social media. The most important thing with social media, especially in this organic way, we're not paying for Facebook ads and funnels and things as I discussed right at the start of the video, is it's really important to be consistent. I think with the online market and the way you want to be promoting your business online, consistency is key. So while you're walking around your suburb handing out business cards and flyers, consistency is key there too. But once you've handed one house a flyer and they throw it away, you can't keep handing the same flyer back. But with social media, I can continually do Facebook Lives every day, videos every day, posts every day, announcements every day, and I try and create a fresh piece of content every 2 to 3 hours. Now, yes, it does sound like a lot of work, but it's more efficient to do it this way than to leave my house and go to a house or hand out business cards or go to the business lunches and things like this. And the great thing about this is people can continually watch this video for the next week, the next fortnight, the next month. Once I've created it once, I know that video piece of video content is going to be there for a long time. I don't continually have to record the same thing. I don't continually have to keep handing out the same flyer to the same people. Sort of see my point here. So I've got Facebook, got that up and rock and rolling, but I also come over to YouTube and pretty much the same content that I create on YouTube as far as videos, I can upload straight to YouTube. And YouTube I use in the exact same way. Same with LinkedIn, even same as Instagram. And I don't have my Instagram account open, but you'll see my point here. I use all social media platforms the same way. I'm really only showing a few things. I'm showing proof and testimonials when I have them, and we have a ton of them. But for you guys, you might be starting out, you don't have a lot of testimonials. Over time you will, but really showing proof to your market. I know regardless of the niche, regardless of the type of people that you're working with, they all have one question in mind. Will this work for me? And one way to answer that, so it doesn't become an objection later, is to show value, is to show how deep your expertise goes, but to show a hell of a lot of proof that you know what you're talking about. Let your content convince your potential clients that you are the go-to person, okay? So on Facebook, I'm showing value. YouTube, I'm showing value. As you can see here with the tons of videos that we have, I'm constantly answering my clients' most common questions. Now, I keep saying common questions. Where do I find these questions? You might be thinking, well, I'm going to show you guys in a minute, show you guys one place where you can find all the most common questions for every single niche. And it's really, really genius the way we can do this. And it's free, which is great as well. So all of these videos, all the stuff on Facebook and especially on YouTube here, I'm just answering common questions. That's all I'm doing. I'm not putting a lot of thought into it. I know what I'm talking about. I'm finding one question. I'm creating a video about that, creating content about that, and answering those questions. Because I know if I don't answer those questions now, they'll become an objection later. It was the same thing with my stop smoking clients. It's the same thing now with my coaching company. I'm always answering questions. So Facebook, I've got YouTube, and LinkedIn's the exact same thing. I repurpose from Facebook to YouTube to LinkedIn to Instagram, all across my social media platforms. One piece of content can go a long way. So I've talked enough about that as far as a system. And like I said, there's several videos below which you can dive more into the social media side of things. But let's have a look at, where do I find these questions? Well, there's a couple of places you can find this. If you're doing strategy calls with your clients, which I recommend, you want to be writing all the information down. And any common questions that your clients have about your service or about your niche in general, write all these questions down, and these become videos. These can become videos for you to answer those questions. Another place is by using a platform called Answer the Public. Now, cool thing about Answer the Public, you get 2 free searches per day. Okay, so use them wisely. So what you want to do, come over to answerthepublic.com, and you'll be presented with this screen right here. And it says discover what people are asking about. So what this does is it collects all the data from Google and YouTube searches, puts it all together, and it will populate the most common questions that people are typing into Google. So we know if someone wants to quit smoking, what would they be looking for on Google? Would they be looking as to why did Scott become a therapist? Or how does conversational hypnosis work? Would my clients be looking for that? Absolutely not. But what they would be looking for is, I'm a smoker, how do I quit? Will I put on weight if I quit smoking? These are common questions that the smoking niche has. So what I can do is come over to here, and you can see we use this a fair bit, is let's say, for example, my niche is, I don't know, anxiety. So we can type in anxiety here. Okay, that's the niche. That's what I work with. Remember, hypno is not your niche. NLP is not your niche. RTT, coaching is not your niche. The niche is the problem that you're solving, the type of person that you work with. So put in your niche here, press search, and we'll wait for this to populate. Okay, and now it's come up with 80 of the most common questions. Now you've got this display like right here, which I don't like. I don't like the visualization. I like the data tool. Press on data and bang, look at this, guys. Okay, this should blow you away. What it has here is the most common questions that your market is asking about their anxiety. Can anxiety cause chest pains? Can anxiety make you sick? Can anxiety cause nausea? These now become videos. These now become content. These are the common questions your market is asking. How anxiety affects you, how anxiety feels, how anxiety affects relationships. From this alone, you could create a video or a valuable piece of content explaining how anxiety could affect relationships or how it doesn't affect relationships. Whatever knowledge you know based on this question, you can now create one, if not several videos answering this question. How does anxiety make you feel? How does anxiety affect your performance? How anxiety ruins relationships. You see my point here, guys. Come down here. When anxiety takes over. So you could create a video that says, when anxiety takes over, do this. And it could create a valuable piece of content, maybe showing a breathing exercise or a technique or a strategy that you know that if someone is suffering from anxiety, they can do this. Now, please don't get discouraged by answering common questions, because I hear this a lot. They'll say, Scott, if I answer these questions, won't that mean that I'll be resolving my client's problem? More than likely not. We know someone with severe anxiety or stop smoking or weight issues needs some sort of therapeutic intervention. All you're doing here is proving your knowledge. You're showing them that, yes, I can help you with this. Yes, I have the knowledge to show you how to overcome this. Yes, I'm proving to you my self-worth and my knowledge about this subject. That's what answering these questions are about. So if you're struggling with social media side of things, wondering, what do I create a Facebook Live about? What should I talk about? What should I create a blog about or a video about? This is where you want to come. And this is just one place. I'll give you guys an overview here. And you want to look up these questions. Where does anxiety come from? Where does anxiety stem from? Where anxiety is in your body? Create videos and content. Get some inspiration from this. So a big part of the system outside of getting paid, obviously, by your clients is the input stage. The inputs is creating content. It's creating valuable pieces of content that are going to answer your clients' most common questions. And this is how we transition you from going outside, handing out business cards and flyers, which really no one reads anyway, let's be honest, and putting all your content online. So if you were to go outside and speak to the general public, you know that you're answering the most common questions over and over and over. Every time you meet someone new, you've got to talk about it over and over. Instead, you create one piece of content in a very valuable way, answering the most common questions. And now that video can answer that question for you for the rest of your career, for the rest of your business. An example of this is I have YouTube videos, guys, answering questions that I created 3 or 4 years ago that are still booking me strategy calls today, 3 to 4 years later. And it's a 20-minute video. One video is booking me consistent strategy calls 3 to 4 years later. That's efficiency. And that's my point I really want to drive home here. If I wanted to use the old school way of going outside, I would continually have to teach people and show people and talk to people, answering the question that I answered on that video. But now I make the video once and I let that video do all the heavy lifting for me to prove my worth, to prove my knowledge, to prove my value over and over again. And best of all, when I'm asleep, that video is working for me in the background. It's working for me when I sleep. If someone goes on to, let's say, YouTube and types in a certain subject or a certain niche or a certain problem that they have, and if I've optimized my video well enough and my video shows first, this video can be seen by thousands of people every single day, hence booking in strategy calls for me. So we've got the inputs. This is the social media side. This is how we transition your business from outside into online. Next is really looking at, well, how do we grab the attention not only of this market? We know that we've got our gateway set up to take payments right now. So let's move on with the rest of the system, move away from social media into the next step. All right, so we've got a handle on your social media now. So this really becomes our free traffic, guys. I mentioned this before. Instead of going outside and finding traffic that way, so to speak, we're now using social media to get the attention of our market by answering their most common questions. Now it comes to, well, what do we do with this? Once people start seeing how deep our knowledge goes and we're answering these common questions, where should we pull them to? So if you remember the system right at the start, we have the inputs and then we had the process. The inputs moves into the process. And one of the processes is you want to be booking people for strategy calls. Now, I'm not going to go into too far in depth of how to do a strategy call. I'm going to leave another video for you guys below. I told you, I've given you everything here. Give you a strategy call video below to show you the most common questions or the most important questions you should be asking on a strategy call, but it is part of the online system. So part of this system is to set up a booking system. You want to drive people from social media into one place, into a booking system. I'm not a big fan of driving social media into like a squeeze page, then a sales page, then this offer and this offer, because it gets overly complicated right at the start. If you're wanting to book face-to-face, so to speak, face-to-face still being online, of course, want to book in one-to-one clients or one-on-one clients, book them all into a booking system. One of the, my favorite booking system is the one we have right here, which is Calendly, and it is awesome because it is free and it also has the survey option. We've got to realize that because we're creating social media, it doesn't mean that everybody that sees our video and wants to work with us is going to be the right client. So how do we funnel these people out, so to speak? Well, this is where we use a survey option. So if you're not using Calendly, there are a couple of other things you can use as well. You just need some sort of booking system. And I highly recommend just getting the free version of Calendly. We've been using the free version of Calendly for like 2 or 3 years now. It is unbelievably great. So I highly recommend it. So you want to do set up a free account with Calendly. I'm going to take you through some of the options here just to give you an overview of how to set it up. But it's pretty straightforward. They have a lot of little videos and little options to show you what to do and how to create these things, how to set it all up properly. But let me show you the easiest way because there are a couple of points I really want to make clear here with using Calendly. So as you'll see is once you set up your Calendly page, you won't have this option right here. You want to come over to create a new event. Okay, so this is creating an event. The event you're going to create is a free strategy call. So I've just set it up as free strategy call with Scott. Let me take you into this. I'm going to show you how the way I have it set up. So what event is this? So all I've got here is free strategy call with Scott Jansen. And I've got free strategy call with Scott Jansen. Your clients will actually see this when they go to book it in. And it says, please answer all the questions with as much detail as possible. The more details we receive, the better your strategy call will be with Scott. Okay. So what happens is once they book a time, the first thing they'll say is, well, I want to book a strategy call with Scott on the 16th of May at 10 a.m. Then what it will do once that time is available and once they click on that time, they'll be taken through to the survey, which is the most important part. So from there, we'll get into the survey in the moment. This is one point I really want to make clear. A lot of people, when they're booking or creating their strategy call link, they leave the option to book a strategy call way too far in advance. What I've realized over decades of doing this and working with face-to-face clients and even in my coaching company is people forget, okay? So when I was booking strategy calls, I only gave people the option to book a call between 3 to 5 days in advance. If I left it 7 days open, 14 days, 21 days open, if someone booked 3 weeks from today to book a strategy call, they would just forget. So I like to leave between 3 and 5 days, okay? So what you want to have is when can people book this event? What I have is 5 calendar days, depending on if you want to work on the weekends. Don't have it any more than 5. Don't have it any less than 3. Okay. So make sure you have that option. Don't book it any further because people will forget. Put in 5 to start off with. Okay. And you can play around with this. You can also, opt for the times that you want to be working in. Just click on these, make sure it's set on your time available for where you live in your country and your suburb. And you can just go through that piece by piece. And as you can see, let's say it's Monday today, the latest someone could book a strategy call with me would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday would be the last day. On Tuesday, Saturday would be the last day. Wednesday, Sunday would be the last, so on and so forth. I've got my calendar open right now for 7 days a week because it's coming up close to Christmas time. But after Christmas, I take Saturday and Sunday off. So someone can't book. If they want to book, if they book on, let's say, a Thursday, the latest they could book would be the Tuesday the next day because it won't book those weekends out. But you sort of see my point here. Calendar days, you can also have it as business days, okay, which excludes weekends and only counts Monday to Friday. That's what I would normally have it set up, but don't go any more than 5. That's my point here, okay? So make sure you keep that as rolling days for 5. And I've got the call booked for 60 minutes, which usually takes about half an hour on a call, but I like to have a half an hour break in between and maybe talk to my student longer or have to go do something else. I've got a bit of time or a break in between. Okay, so from there, this is the survey. It's called the invitee questions. Now you can have 10 questions, which is really, really important. Now, every niche is different. Every survey that you create for a certain niche is going to be different. I'll give you guys an overview of my survey right now, but this is for my market. Okay, this is for my specific niche. That's according to my specific product. That's according to my specific way of doing things. So even if you're helping therapists and coaches grow their business, don't use this survey, because it probably won't work for you. There are very specific reasons. I'm not going to get into today because that's quite in depth. There are very specific reasons as to why I use these specific questions, but I will point out for the general therapist and coach, one of the most important questions you should ask. Okay, and I'll show you where that is. So with this, really, really simple. The first option I have is they're going to put in their name, their last name, their email address. I want to make sure I collect that information. This is one of the important ones. Your strategy call with Scott will be held via Zoom with no camera on. Okay, that's the way I do a strategy call. I'm not meeting you in person. It's going to be online. You must be ready for the call, not driving the car at the airport. The Zoom link will be emailed to you 5 minutes before the call begins. Yes, do you understand? No, I don't understand. Okay, so give them those 2 options. Obviously, you want them to press yes. Now, as part of the system we talked about at the very start, we talked about something called asymmetry, which is I want to find where my clients are coming from. And again, it's an important question. Now I think about it, probably all these questions are really, really important, but there's one very, very important question at the end. But the asymmetry question is great because what I like to do at the end of every 30 days, which I'll do at the end of this month, I go back all through these surveys and I find where did people find me from? Where is my asymmetry? Where I'm putting all of my attention in my business? Where am I getting the biggest yield? The inputs I'm putting in, where am I getting the biggest outputs? Because let's say, for example, I'm using, I don't know, LinkedIn, okay? and I'm putting all of this effort into LinkedIn, but I'm getting no clients in return. Well, I'm probably going to stop using LinkedIn because it's not proven to yield me any results. So what I find with my business, YouTube gives me the biggest yield. If I create 2 to 3 videos per week, that could take up about 60 to 70% of the cash and revenue in my company. The only way I know that is by answering this question. So I go back through all my surveys. Let's say I get 70 to 100 surveys or booked calls per month, not all of them being the right fit, of course. And I find that, let's say 70 or 80% of those calls are booked from YouTube. The next month, I'm going to really focus on YouTube. And I've been doing this for many months right now because YouTube has the biggest yield for us. It actually used to be Facebook, but now it's turned to YouTube. Had I not tracked these things, I wouldn't have seen this. So what does this mean for you? Well, guys, remember at the start, we talked about repurposing content across all social media platforms. That's great at the start. But moving forward, you want to really get a handle on the efficiency in your business. There is no point if you can track these things after a little bit of data comes through, after basically doing this for a couple of months, there's no point just keeping on doing the same things if you're finding the majority of your clients are booking you from a certain social media platform and other social media platforms are proven not to be worth your time. This is a really advanced strategy. It's a really tracking phase, but it's so important. It means that you could spend 100% of your time on YouTube, forget about everything else, but make more money by doing less work. That's what asymmetry is, okay? So make sure you got that question here. So for me, because I'm working with people growing their business, obviously I've got questions about your goals of your business, what's stopping you from growing your business, things like this, how much money is your business generating, all of these common questions here, which probably won't apply for a lot of you guys anyway. I've got a description of, what's stopping you from achieving this by yourself. Okay. Even for like a stop smoking clients, I could ask them, why can't you quit by yourself? Okay. It's an important question to ask, but the most important question to ask is the finance question. Now, guys, I get it. As therapists and coaches, we just want to help everybody. It was the same for me as well. I loved working with people. I still love working with people today. And I really wish I could give my services away for free. I hope one day that I can just give my 100K coaching course away for free and everybody could benefit from it because that would make me feel awesome. But I also know I live in a world where I have bills and I have to survive as well. So for therapists and coaches out that are watching this and maybe think, well, Scott, it's about giving to my clients, not about making money for me. That's fine. You can run your business that way. But if you're really intent on making money and growing this, getting resources in your business, which is cash and revenue, which will help you affect more people because more cash and revenue gives you more time to do the things I'm talking about now instead of having to get a 9-to-5 job. This question is important. So let's say, as an example, easy math, I get 100 strategy calls booked per month. I might find that 30% of those strategy calls booked, people are ticking this, which is no, I do not have any finances available. So the question I have is, do you have the financial resources to invest in yourself and your business today? So if you guys just put the niche in there, and are you 100% committed to joining our program? Minimum 997 Australian dollars to start. Now, do you have to have the cost of your service? Leave that out for now. I'm not going to explain why this is quite an advanced strategy, but you just want to have this common question, basically asking your clients, hey, do you have the money to invest in quitting smoking? Do you have the money to invest to lose weight? And you want to give people 3 options. No, I do not have the finances available. No, but I can access the funds elsewhere immediately. Yes, I have the financial resources available to start your program today, and I'm 100% committed. So when we get a strategy call booked in from our social media, you'll receive an email from Calendly, and it will give you the entire survey that they have filled out. They have to fill out a survey, okay? Otherwise, the call won't get booked in, and they won't get a notification that it has been booked in. So that's why Calendly is awesome as well. So the first thing I look at is this. If someone says yes, they have the financial resources available, I'll go through the rest of the survey, and I'll look for more red flags. Red flags for me are just like a bad attitude. If someone's, been a bit of a smart ass with their answers or not really giving me a lot of detail in their answers, I'll probably cancel the call. If they do have finances available and they really fill out all of these questions, I can see some of our students before they join our program spend about half an hour filling this out. This shows me a lot of motivation. It shows me they're willing to go that extra step to book this call with me, which means it's important for them. So I come down here. If I see they've got financial resources available, fantastic. I'm going to take the call. If they say no, but I can access the funds elsewhere immediately, What I will do is look at the rest of these questions with a fine-tooth comb and make sure it's going to be worth my time, because my client might just need a couple of weeks or even just a couple of days because they get paid on a certain day. I'll have that discussion on the call if I decide to take the call. If, however, I find that, let's say 30% of the calls that come through, which they do, have this ticked, I won't look at the rest of the survey. I'll cancel the call. Might seem a little bit harsh, but my time is important, and so is yours, guys. Not everybody that you pull from social media into a booking system is going to be your ideal client. There is no point going through a really awesome strategy call or sales call, whatever you're doing to convert these people, if you know at the end they're just going to turn around and say, I don't have money to pay for this. I would love to, but I can't. It's a waste of your time. But I think it's a waste of their time as well, because you have something for them, an offer that could really change their life. And it's almost like teasing them with it because they can't afford it. You know they can't afford it. So I just simply cancel the call. I may even email them or just send them a message and say, this has happened. This is the reason why we can't do the call. Go watch my YouTube channel. Go follow me on Facebook, because they might have the money later, guys. Let your content change their mind later. Keep them front of mind with your content. But if they strictly have no finances, guy, I cancel the call. Okay. So when you filled all that out, press save and close. Okay. And that's pretty much all I have. I don't touch any of these things. I do not collect a payment for the strategy call. I've had this question a lot. Do you charge people for strategy calls? Absolutely not. Okay. I want people to have a free strategy call with me. I'm using the strategy call to make sure I can help you. I'm making sure that you're motivated and you're a good fit for me, and vice versa. So there's a strategy behind this. I don't think it's necessary to charge these people, but it is totally up to you, and it's totally your business. So guys, the input stage we know is the social media. Okay, we've set up our booking system now, which is part of the process. Now let's move through to the system. We touched a little bit on asymmetry before, and we know our outputs is going to be the income of our business, guys. When it comes down to it, that's really the only metric we need to look at, guys. Are you making money? And this really comes back to what I'm going to talk about next, which is the niche phase. So really, I've left the niche stage right at the part of this system right here towards the end, but it really encapsulates everything we've done right now. We know as therapists and coaches, and I've mentioned this several times, and I'm going to leave more videos below for you to check out, which dive straight into the whole niche phase of how important this niche phase is. But guys, we have to realize one thing, and I just want to make one point here really, really crystal clear. Not every niche is possible. Not every niche is actually profitable, and not every niche, not only being not possible, not profitable, will not pay for your services. And this really encapsulates what a niche is. It is so super important to wrap your mind around these things to understand that, sure, you could be super, super passionate about a certain type of client or a certain type of problem that you want to solve, but it doesn't mean it's going to yield any results as far as the output. So the only way to know if a niche is going to be profitable is looking at the output stage of your business, which is really looking at your bank account. Are you making money from this niche? And this even transcends, regardless, if you don't want to use my advice here and you want to continue to hand out business cards and use flyers and go the old school marketing way and go outside and do this, you still have to encapsulate this niche. Your niche really encapsulates your entire business. So the way I look at the niche, I'm going to get my laser pointer here, okay, right here, is, let's just make sure I've got this, laser pointer, there we go. Okay, so the niche really encapsulates three things only. Okay, the first one's what I call population. Is there a big enough population of people inside this niche that could service your business as far as outputs for a longer period of time? If, for example, you find a niche which has maybe a very small amount of people in it, it means that once you exhaust those people, also realizing that not everybody is going to buy your service, it means that you're going to have to find another niche. When that gets exhausted, then another niche, and you can continue to have to go through this phase of changing your niche. So you need to have a big enough population of people. So let's dive into what I mean by the population of people. We've got to realize this, guys. Inside the population of people inside your niche, it has to be big enough to service your business. You have to be solving a real problem with a real pain that is suffered by real people. This is probably the most important point here. We can sometimes fall into the trap of guessing our niche, wondering about our niche, or being blinded so much by our passion, even if the niche responds to us and says, we don't want your service, or we don't have the pain or the problem that you want to solve. Every niche needs to have real people, which is the population, with a real problem and real pain that you can solve. So how do you find what these things are? Get out of your head, guys, and go talk to real people. It's probably one of the hardest stages of business, is to really understand what the market is looking for. Remember, we're not selling hypnosis. We're not selling coaching. We're not selling therapy. There's a video below showing you why we don't want to do this. We are selling the result of a problem, okay? It just happens to be that the tool we use, the technique, the strategy we use is hypno, coaching, RTT, or NLP. Clients aren't buying these things. They are buying a result. So we need to have a big enough population of people that have a real problem and a real pain. And lastly, willing and able to pay for our services. At the end of the day, you could do all the right social media that we've talked about, set up your booking system like we've talked about. You're ready to take payments from these people. You're excited. You know this subject inside and out. You know you can give these people results. But if they're not willing and able to pay for your services, which you'll find out from having the booking system with the survey, it does mean you have to remain flexible as a therapist and a coach and change that niche to find a niche is profitable. Like I said at the start, not every niche is profitable. No matter what other gurus may be telling you what you might want to believe, this is just fact. This is business 101. If every niche was profitable in the business world, it means that everybody that started a business would be profitable. It means there'd be probably no more room for any more businesses. Everything would be covered, but that's simply not the case. If you find right now that maybe you've been in a niche for 6 months and maybe you've been following steps like this or something similar, but you're still not making money, it's more than likely there is a problem with the niche, not just necessarily the system you set up. This niche is the same whether you do outside marketing or you do it online. It's regardless of which, it's still the same thing. You have to find a niche that's profitable with a big enough population of people that suffer from a real problem or a real pain, not something you've made up in your head that you want to sell to your clients. And lastly, they have to be willing and able to pay. You have to provide enough value with the right solution. These people are willing to pay for your services. And this is, although I've left this towards the end of the system, it really encapsulates everything we do, but it really encapsulates going from social media, which is the inputs, the process being that booking stage, and the outputs being the right niche that's going to be profitable for you over the long term. So I've made my point clear here. Let's move on. All right, so we've got the client, they've paid in full, you've been doing the social media, they've booked a strategy call, you've managed to close that strategy call, they've paid you in full. Well, what's the last piece of the system? One of the biggest transitions I think you'll find, guys, is moving away from the face-to-face interaction with your clients and using something like Zoom or Skype or even just a mobile phone. Now, again, your ability to grow globally and work with clients all around the world that are willing to pay your high prices and for your services, we have to utilize things like Zoom and Skype. I really think it's at a great time as well, is that the coronavirus and the lockdown has taught us to use technology in a greater way. It has forced people that have never really admitted to technology to want to speak to family members all over the world and check up to see how they are. So they got used to using Zoom and Skype and a mobile phone. So transitioning your service away from face-to-face and working with your clients globally on Zoom or Skype is another great potential for you as well. Now, with the camera on, with the camera off, regardless of how you do it, you do want to make sure that you're using some sort of technology for this. And again, I'm going to give you with a quick instructional video as well. Below, I'm going to give you a video of how you can actually use Zoom and Skype for your hypnotherapy, your coaching, NLP, even RTT sessions. It's an old training that I used to teach all my therapy students when I used to actually teach conversational hypnosis and clinical hypnotherapy. This was one of the resources I gave them. So I'm going to leave that video for you guys below. It's about 45 minutes. It'll show you how to set up the perfect Zoom and Skype sessions for your clients, which will be another advantage for you guys moving online. And it's a big part of the system. So as you can see, we're doing everything online because the face-to-face version of our marketing, but also our client has been taken away from us. It's time to start to use technology in a very profitable way for you and your business as well. So we've come to the end of the video, and probably what you've seen looks deceptively simple, but the matter of the fact is going online from being an offline business into online and growing globally thanks to social media is actually quite simple. Breaking down your business into the input, process, output, and also the asymmetry stage will give you the greatest advantage, especially moving past lockdown, getting over the coronavirus issues that your business has suffered from, but especially moving into 2021. I foresee where the coaching and the therapy business is going in basically 2021 and beyond is being online. Although the coronavirus may one day go away or something else may come up and then go away, I think clients are going to become a little bit skeptical by coming to see you, to go out of their way. They've experienced now the ability to speak to family members who have maybe suffered from the coronavirus or other flus or something like this all over the world. So they're going to become quite used to using Zoom and Skype, like I mentioned before. So I really think it's important to transition not only the way that you treat your clients, which is no longer face-to-face, but marketing your business like so. As I mentioned, the business, really the fundamental parts of your business is the input, process, output, and asymmetry stage. Now, I've left plenty of videos down below which go into a lot more detail about the separate parts of the business, but hopefully I've really made my point clear and got you excited about building your business online. Knowing that you're going to be online because that's where your clients are, using more of an efficiency in your business instead of having to leave your house and go locally and walk around flyers and business cards and things like this, should get you really, really excited about where your business can go and the potential of growth of your business instead of being static. So guys, hopefully that was informative. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you type them down below. Thank you so much for checking out this video. That's all from me for today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.